Republican Florida Congressman and U.S. Army veteran Representative Greg Steube joins me. Good evening, sir. What would you, we're in a very precarious situation. We've got an outgoing president. We've got an incoming president. Where the outgoing one is sending long-range missiles that can be fired into Russia. We've got a change in the Russian doctrine of when they were going to use nuclear weapons, which is probably saber-rattling. Well, what do you think the United States should do now?
Well, Joe Biden shouldn't have sent that over there. Joe Biden shouldn't be escalating this war. Joe Biden is about to get us in World War III with Russia by aiding the Ukrainians in the manner in which they're doing. Putin has been very clear with what aid NATO countries, the United States, could provide that are going to cross the line, in their opinion. Have been very clear about that. And think about this for a second, Greta. You're 60 days away from President Trump getting inaugurated. And in the history of our country, actions by an outgoing president has never taken this level of precedent in a wartime environment in the history of our country, where we're escalating a war with the outgoing president escalating it as an incoming administration is coming in. So hopefully, and I just read that the Trump team, the transition team, is going to try to send an envoy to negotiate and bring the parties together. Hopefully, Trump is trying to reach out to Putin, and they're having conversations that, look, I'm going to be in office in 60 days. Don't let the actions of this administration affect what's going to happen in the next 60 days, because once some of those buttons are pressed, if Putin escalates this and does start launching nuclear warfare, you're going to have a significant world event in Eastern Europe.
Well, the most reasonable, practical, smart thing to do is just as an outset is that we saw the video of when President-elect Trump was invited to the White House and with President Biden. I would think that at that point, if they're talking about a transition, those two men need to be speaking, because one's obviously president now and one's going to be president in 60 days. Do you think that President Biden is just freelancing? He didn't speak to President-elect Trump about this?
Oh, I'm sure he didn't speak to Trump about this, because Trump would have told him that it's a huge mistake and not get us into World War III. And also, Joe Biden isn't running the country right now. He hasn't been running the country in some time. Obviously, we saw all the cognitive issues. There's other people that are running the White House right now, so I don't even think that Joe Biden's involved. Kamala, I just read, her and her husband are in Hawaii. So I don't know who's making the decisions in the White House, but they're obviously escalating this so that Trump is inheriting a very escalated, volatile situation in Eastern Europe. And I just hope that Trump gets a transition team over there to start negotiating, even as president-elect. But let me just emphasize here, never in the history of our country has an outgoing president taken this type of military action in an ongoing war when you have an incoming president coming in less than 2 months. It's ridiculous. It's going to push us into, hopefully not, but may push us into World War III. And Putin has been very clear about what he's willing to do and what he's willing not to do if the United States did something like this.
I do think it's disturbing. Who is running the country is obviously a concern of everybody in this 60-day window. And, and I keep repeating is that we didn't elect a staff. The country elected President Biden. If President Biden's not fit, then the vice president should be doing this. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that I see, as you note, is these sort of escalated gestures, and we're 60 days out, and it's unclear, exactly what's going on. But let's see what happens in the next 60 days. But I would like to see the two men working together, because this is very serious, obviously. Congressman Greg Steube, thank you, sir.
Yeah, anytime.